Okay, picking up where we left off, Memphis and Fort Worth are still on the table here. I just finished filling out the score sheet. I want to talk about the two different ways you can track your stats. So you can track just in points. For example, Trevor Wood had 12 points receiving in the game, or you can express that in yardage. So you multiply the points by 10 to get the base yardage, and then you added a 12-sided roll for every player who is on the score sheet, basically, who made a play of some sort. Even if it was 0 points, they still get credit for some yardage if you're doing the yardage thing. So for example, so his 12 points, I rolled a 12 to tack on, so that's 132 yards. 2 turns to 29, 2 turns to 26. So that would either be 16 points total passing for Steve Bax, or 187 yards if you track the yardage. I've come to prefer the yardage just because it makes it feel more like football. I like to envision this as being a 100-yard long field and every zone being 10 yards. So that makes it easy. But if you really want to keep things simple, just track the points. You can take a simple or complex approach also to defense. For example, you can either just track the stops, 1 point for every stop made, which is the single most important statistic for defenders, or you can express a bit more detail, account for that by giving bonus points for certain plays. And ultimately you would have to decide what gets credit for an impact point and what does not. But for every negative point inflicted by a defender, then I give an impact point for that. And then so something like an interception return could be huge. Let's say the opposing team is in zone 6, the ball's picked off in zone 7, and he returns it all the way. Well, he just took 6 points off the board. Actually, well, let's see. If he turned it all the way to the O zone, that would be -6. So that would be 6 impact points just by itself. I would give him another point if he reaches the end zone and makes a safety out of it. So that could be 7 impact points on an interception. Just on the return, okay, I would also give a bonus point for making the interception itself, because that's a turnover as well as a stop. All right. I mean, technically any stop is a turnover, so you make that judgment call as to how you'd want to award impact points. But that's another way to do it. Do you just track the stops, or do you want to tack on bonus points for other things that defenders do? With all of that in mind, that's how that's done. That's a couple different ways to approach it. The other thing I wanted to talk about real quick is, when you start to think, especially in terms of yardage, it does kind of bring to mind, the fact that this is an abstract game. And so when, every time you roll the dice and you resolve something on these charts, what you're actually resolving is not, one play necessarily. What you're getting is the end result of a series of plays, a series of downs. What was the thing that happened during that set of downs that was most impactful and was most telling? And so that's what happens with a highlight-oriented approach in a game such as GridZone. But taking that sort of approach is also what allows us to play a game, in 20, 30 minutes. So there you have it, a little bit on how to wrap things up. I think in the next video we'll do maybe a power factor game. See how that goes. Till next time, see ya.